grant in aid programs where the students are getting some sort of benefit. So this is one of our incubative, Amartya, who is working on splints. Splints is a supporting or 3D printed orthosis systems which protecting during some sort of injury. So these students come out with some sort of idea who is very expert in 3D designing, and they are developing this one, and now they are starting. So this is supported by NITI EIR fellowships, and currently that fellowship is also open, and the students can apply with your own innovative idea to get seats. So for example, in NITI EIR, we used to provide around 3.6 lakh per annum to support their innovations. So this is a NSTDP, National Science and Technology Entrepreneurship Development Board, DST, Government of India supported grant. So here Manipal is one of the organization providing that sort of support. Another example is Mustafa Ansari. He's developing a preventive devices for a reduction of lymphedema during this breast cancer post therapy or pre-therapy. So another example is Johnson D'Souza. This startup is Black Frog. It is interesting. They started in the year 2018. These are all just graduated students. So they come with the refrigerated idea for mainly for vaccine carrier and all these things. So now their valuation after 3 years, their valuation is coming around 10 crores, and they grabbed all these many grants, including BIRAC, BIG, then Seed Fund Investments, and now also the BIRAC one more fund is pipeline, almost around 1.3 crore. So a lot of funding opportunities available. So if you have some sort of innovative idea, don't waste your time. You should approach some sort of this platform where all this support is providing. Okay. So another example is Joyce Pinto. She is developing a device for the post-cataract. It is for the drug delivery systems, and this is also supported by NITI EIR. So this is one of the biotechnology guy who is developing a 3D print graft of skin patches, which is planning to do replace the animal testing model for the skin as well as for the medical application, including the skin transplantation, especially for the burn patients. So another example is Satyam. He's also a graduate. He's working on myoelectric upper limb prosthesis. So, for example, if somebody is paralysis upper limb, it can be mobilized through these sort of processes. So another example is who is working on Agri platform is Sharath, and he's developed a platform to and platform is Fund Micro Platform. It is a funding for farmers. It is a platform developed with the support of NITI EIR. And another example is Shashank is one of these biotechnology graduate, and he after graduation he is like every biotech they are searching for jobs, but his idea is many of these biotech ideas cannot be funded by normal private or angel investors because they do not know the science. So his idea was to create a platform, crowdfunding platform for the students who is having innovative idea especially in the science sector or life science sector or biotechnology sector. So if you have some sort of idea, you can float your idea in that one. So the crowd will fund for your research, and that platform he created with the support of NITI EIR. Another interesting is Dr. Tansu. She's a BDS, a dental graduate, and during doing some sort of the procedure during the surgical syringe, so there is some difficulty. So she made a single adapter, and she received a couple of patents with different models of this syringe adapters. So these are some of the examples. There are a lot of examples. We are almost having 26 student startups here with the support of NITI EIR. That is per fellowship of 3.6 lakhs per student per annum. And they are working at the end of their journey. They are creating their own ventures. And so all these listeners, they may think why it is relevant for us. We are our path may be different. So every academic institution, when we used to say this, show these presentations and inspiring them. So especially in the biotechnology, where the job availability is very less. So because you are already educated with your BSc 17 years, 19 years, 25 years, even after postdoc. there is non-availability of job in the biosector service, very, very crucial. So what sort of things you can do, and if I am interested, how I should start a journey of innovation. That is the main topic of this coverage. So this is not only for biotechnology, it can be applicable to for all sort of systems. So it is having certain fundamental thumb rules. If a technology person want to create a venture or want to create a business out of their knowledge, because we are already studying, we are studying for almost 22 years, and an average in Kerala is studying 22 years. So after this 22 years, why we are still remaining as jobless? Why we cannot innovate? So in Kerala, this Kerala Startup Mission is doing a wonderful job, and they are creating, I think, in your academic campus also, there might be some hubs. If you do not have one, then you have to create a small entrepreneurship club or entrepreneurship hub or some ideation places where the students can come and they can interact with all the students. So we will discuss this in a little bit later stage. So in science, we used to think that if we have a discovery or if we have an invention, then only there is some scope of doing things like Albert Einstein or some big scientist. So if we have some sort of big sort of thing in our hand, then only we can do. So it is not like that. So if you say we are having, we do not have a discovery or we do not have a invention, if you can do a innovation, then you can have a better future with your innovations. And if the innovation is having some priority or a need in the society, then you can go ahead in the commercialization path. So what is innovation? Also, it is a better way of doing things. For example, we see our television transformation. Initially, it would come as a big dappa or big box. Now it is as slim as a notebook. So this sort of changes or transformation with the technology advancement is called generally known as innovation. So it can be in anything. It can be in healthcare. It can be in biotechnology. It can be in process. It can be environmental applications. It can be on food technology. All this sector, this innovation is happening. The world is moving in a circle of innovations. And when a technology graduate thinks of innovation, he can think in three aspects. First one is a product innovation. For example, as I said, a television. There you can improve the specification to do the things in a better performance or better specification or with better components or with better materials or better software. So all this improvement can be done in product innovation. Product innovation, what are the steps and what are the tricks in innovations that we will come in later stage. Second one is process innovation. When you are, for example, say a food biotechnologist, when you work in a distillery or fermentation industry, for example, if you derived a particular drug out of or a particular product out of 36 steps, if you create that steps into 3 or 4 steps reduction, then a lot of money can be saved. So such innovation is called process innovation, and it will significantly improve the quality or significant reduction in the steps or ingredients ratio or what are the equipments used. So many modifications if you do, and if you can do a innovation in the process, then such innovations is called a process innovation. Another innovation is service. Like for example, if you are working in a hospital ecosystems, now a lot of innovation happening in hospitals. There are a lot of new point of care devices is already arrived in the hospital, because within the last 6 months we can see that innovation happened in the medical ICU or the patient treating platform or in the clinics of things, because based on that need the various practices has been changed, various new things has been introduced in the workplace. Such innovation is whichever happening in the service is called service innovation. So we are graduates, we are just doing our BSc or MSc. So in this small, for example, say minimum, I think my participants may be minimum of 17 years or 19 years. So in this 19 years, what did we do anything or what are we doing? Okay, so we know a lot of things. We learn a lot of things. We know science, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics. We have a lot of knowledge. Okay, what we are going to do with such knowledge is very, very, very important in coming days. So now, till this time, we are focusing. I have to do a BSc biotechnology and MSc biotechnology. I have to do a research. I have to do a postdoc, and in between time, if time is there, I will get married. Then I will go ahead with the research. I scientist, then senior scientist, principal scientist. Like that, our thinking is going on. That is a classical thinking mentality when we were doing our biotechnology. After MSc, there is no time. We should run into a PhD program, and after PhD, we should run into a postdoc, and like that. So that is the routine thinking of a biotechnology student. So if we do a little bit change in our thinking mentality, we can do a lot of things in our society. So as I said, especially after your BSc, during your MSc time, you will be getting a chance to do your thesis work or a project in your as a part of your academic. So many of the times, what happened in our times also, what happened is wherever we go, which laboratory we go, we will get whatever the work left back for a student, or whatever they are having certain sort of standard research topics available for the researchers. Okay. So we will go, we will speak what is the topic of my project, and he or she will give some, your guide will give some topics, and you have to work on that one. And you have to do this routine literature review, hypothesis development, doing a lot of experiments. And in biotechnology lab, if you go, these sort of things happen. And at a result analysis, publications, and sometimes you may get a discovery of some sort of fundamental aspects. So this is the classical 90% of academic research are doing. So any of these academics, if you think they are routine in, so today they will do some research in coconut, tomorrow they will move into arecanut. Like that, the plans will vary, but the topic will be remaining same. So we have to end up that sort of research methodology, and we have to focus on applied research. So in applied research, the methodology is a little bit different. For example, here, many of in Manipal, many of these are into translational based on the real time or life problems. For example, whatever the problem we are having yesterday, we are not searching into that one. We are focusing on current as well as tomorrow's problems. So we should always seek some sort of problems. And before that, we should understand our core competency. If we have a deep knowledge or depth knowledge, and we are having the core competency, then we should focus on the live problems, either current or future problems, and we should proceed. Instead of literature review, we should think of patent search or market review or FTO studies. These are sometimes maybe new terminology. It is I will explain a little bit, elaborate. Right. So in any fundamental research, we used to do a lot of literature. We will go all these journals from the 1980s to 2020, what all the things happened in that particular topic. Yes, that is good for understanding, but that sort of research, we are not going to gain any sort of value. So instead of, for example, we are having current COVID, we do not have a past experience or past literature of COVID. So we have to learn from the current situation and the future situation. For example, how long the COVID is going to exist, and for example, if a product development for COVID, how long it is going to exist. For example, say 2 or 3 or 4 years, it is going to last in our ecosystem. Like that, we have to look in current as well as future. And for that, instead of literature review, as limited literature review we require, because we have to update with our skills and knowledge. And in addition to that, we have to, if you are into a translational research or applied research, you should look also into IPs. Intellectual, there are a lot of free databases available for IPs, and the Google patent is one of the good example, and everybody is very, very familiar with the Google. So Google patent, if, for example, if any topic, for example, you are having some idea, I want to develop a vaccine for COVID. Okay. So if you search the COVID vaccine in Google patent, you may not get 1 or 2 or some leads, some might maybe a professional patent might be applied. So Google patent review and market review also. For example, almost the entire world is suffering from the pandemic. So the market is very big for that one, and the patent wise, there is less number of patents. So getting patent and IP in such sort of things is, and based on that, you have to create what is your problem and what is your idea. You have to create a hypothesis, experiment, result analysis, and here one more thing is very important. And in basic research, our ultimate goal is to create a publication. And here we have to focus on our intellectual properties, especially into patent or developing a technology, getting it licensed, or developing a product or other IPR like a trademark or design patent sort of things. At the end of the applied research, we are gaining uh, either a innovation or invention. So, if that is from the very early days of research, we should decide which way we are going, and the end result will be vary. And for example, if you are planning to have a entrepreneurship journey, you should select always applied research. So applied research focused on market is very essential in all sectors, not only biotech sector, all sectors, to create a venture out of technology. I think that is very clear. So what is the structure of an innovation? So any of this innovation, there is a problem or there is a pain or there is a need. Against, for example, if we take an example of COVID as a current pandemic, the problem is COVID. It is a big pandemic, and what is my idea against that pandemic? Okay, for example, I am a biotechnologist. I am going to develop a particular vaccine against that problem, and that vaccine is the solution. If you take any of this technology based products, for example, it is a television. What is the problem there? The customer or the consumer needs some sort of entertainment in their home, and their problem is they cannot go to theater or somewhere. They want to have that big screen in front of them, and that is their customer's problem. And idea is I have to create a very crystal clear television for their need, and solution that come is the television. Okay, so for example, another example is if you are in an island. Okay, so you want to move to other mainland, so you require to travel, and the travel is not available. That is the problem of the customer. So you are creating either a bridge or a transportation mechanism where that customer from one place can move to the other. So when we create a product out of a particular problem, pain or need, and if it is a novel, then you are lucky that you are having an innovation. So many times what will happen when we talk with the students, they will tell that I will create water out of air. So their concept will be like that. Okay, so initially we will be also a little bit doubtful whether it is possible or not, like that. Okay, so when we sit down and analysis it step by step, and many things is possible. So this step by step of cutting down into individual pieces and analyzing and validating scientifically is called a proof of concept. So once we did that part, yes, it is. For example, I create water out of air. So initially, 90% of it is not possible. But the water, if we go scientific merit of that one into fractions, for example, say the air is having the humidity is of water molecule. If we condense that water molecule and collect individual drops of water, we can create a water. So this is the initial times. Many of this new idea, when we talk with this younger generation, they are having very fantastic ideas. So initial time we will think that it might be a blender, okay, and while we sit down and we analyze and we do the surgery of their idea, then we will come to know that yes, it is going to work. And many times, to solve a problem, do not require deep science. For example, in the case of SIP. SIP is just a solution for closing any of this container, any of this bag sort of thing. Okay, closing of the bag. If we ask a scientific engineer, they will come out with many of these big equation sort of things. And if you have a simple solution like a zip which you can close and which you can open the sort of things. So which do not have a deep science, like if, for example, there is no equation or mathematical explanation for this operation. So if you can make the innovations very simple, the acceptance will be very higher. So innovations always, sometimes it may be a deep science, sometimes it may be with no science. So that is totally depend upon the idea of individual. So when it comes to a technology startup, for example, in general, any sort of business, without the technology, yes, it is possible. For example, if you want to create a handicraft business, there the technology is nothing. Okay, so there the skills of the person is very neat. And for example, if they understand the designing pattern of a particular individual or color combination or their concept of dress, and if they understand that particular problem of the customer, and if they stitch a dress material for them and providing a tailoring solution, so that there the deep science is not there. So when it comes to engineering or technology graduates, so our skill is not to spend time on that sort of things. So we should mainly focus on technology. For example, I am a biotechnology graduate, and my skills is in food technology, right? So food technology, what all things we know. For example, say many of these North Indian people are deficient in vitamin B12. Okay, so if I can fortify vitamin B12 in any of these food they are routinely eating, with my technology ideas, I can solve that problem. So when we integrate this technology part into the main, so our solution is always a technology solutions. And the advantage of technology solution is you are going to have a intellectual property, IPs against that one, and IP there is nobody else is going to compete with your venture. Okay, so in general business, what will happen is, for example, if you start a business like, for example, Swiggy sort of business, and it is not protected, anybody else can copy, anybody else can slightly innovate the business model like the Swiggy and Zomato, they compete each other, right? So similar, that sort of non-technological ideas cannot be protected, and such a business is having a risk of always having the risk of competition. So if we ask, I will ask you a question. For example, you people are at least 17 to 20 or 25 years old. In your life, till today, did you identify any sort of problems in the society or any sort of the problems in our environment that you people can solve? So if somebody is having an answer, you can write it in the chat box, and we will go through it at the end. So many of the people will think that this innovations or doing some sort of product, process, or services is not a part of our jobs. We are very happy. We are in a very safe zones, and because Indian education system is created in such a way that they are always dependent upon their parents or their family ecosystem. So they are not knowing the real many of the problems. So if we ask these questions in another way, so did you identify any sort of problems? So nobody see many of the problems in the society. For example, while traveling from one place to another, if you observe it tightly in for example, say environment or individuals or in the building or societal ecosystem, we can see hundreds of problems, but we are not seeing. We are just literally traveling from one place to another. So now go onwards, try to identify. For example, if you are expert in a fermentation technology, if your industry is in the medical sort of things, if you are interested in food technology, if you are interested in tissue culture sort of things, you should focus what the core competency I am having. Can I solve any sort of the problems of the society? And with my knowledge, with what I gained in last 17 or 18 years of time, I should focus, I should work on some sort of idea. And do not interpret that, for example, if working in some sort of idea take a full 24 hours of a day. No, it is not like that. For example, if you are working at some places, you can parallelly work on some concept. For example, you are an expert in cancer biology, right? So cancer biology, you can identify certain problems. For example, you did your master's or PhD research in some sort of receptors of that drug target. So you are having a depth knowledge in one particular domain and having a deep knowledge in what particular aspects of which is very relevant for a therapeutic aspects, for example, drug delivery. Okay, so whether my receptor is going to have any relevance in developing a drug delivery system. So like that, you should identify with your own competency what sort of the problem in the society uh, I can solve. So when we discuss this sort of things with the engineering students, they will come with a lot of idea. For example, here this prosthetics legs people. For example, they are having the skills of developing the prosthetics. So if the some man with a problem which they do not have a limb and come to that prosthetic person, he will develop a prosthetic product for him. Here the problem is the man do not have a leg, and technology is the man know the provider knows that I can create a prosthetic, and the solution is a prosthetic leg. Okay, so this create a business out of that one. Another example is, for example, interior, where the fuel is not available. They can think of a solar-based system, and this is to solve the problem of mobility. So here the problem is the mobility. They do not have a fuel access. So the technology is the solar-based system, which can provide the supply or fuel to the mobility. And the solution is a frugal rickshaw, which is running by electricity. Another example is during this flooding sort of things, the availability scarcity of water, pure drinking water. And that many of the time, that calamity times, we do not have electricity also. So what is the innovation? So if we develop a water purification system out of this bicycle-based, dynamo-based power, then we can create a product like this, which we can convert and unclean water into a pure water. So solution is the drinking water. The problem is non-availability of drinking water. So many times we think there are a lot of examples. This is one of the another example is chakra, which is largely used in the North Indian parts. And another example is the engineering graduate. If you go to any of these villages, remote villages, where they are working in bamboo, they will innovate something and provide some sort of easiness for their work. So we Indians are doing all these sort of steps. And if we comparing to the foreign countries, so we are very, very keen to identify such a small problems. And we will, if you look into our past PhD theses from IITs or premier institutes of this one, many of these PhD theses are linked with this providing solution for such. And such innovations are called frugal innovations or jugaad, which do not have a intellectual value or commercial value. So this fact we should understand very, very clearly. So if you identify something and if you assemble certain sort of things and providing a solution, it is not going to benefit you at any point of time. It may benefit some point of persons with some easiness, but it is not going to give a business or business out of innovation. So, for example, in COVID times, we are seeing n number of jugaad or frugal innovation, but it is not going to provide you a long-term production or long-term support or any sort of financial benefit out of such frugal innovation. So, what we require? So, really, if we are a science persons, we should really think of deep technology. The technology can protect you and provide you a deep business. For example, if it is simple, if you derive a variety out of a particular plant species, okay, so that is your technology core competency product, and it is a novel variety. Okay, if you can create for example, if some sort of plants, the tissue culture is not possible. With your core competency and knowledge, if you create a particular protocol, and you can patent that process protocol for process patent for that one, and nobody else can do that sort of things. For example, if you are very good in pharmacy, pharmacogenomic sort of things, you can identify new markers and marker-derived drug delivery system. Nobody else can copy to that one. So identify what is your core competency, identify the technology, and make the novel solutions, novel products. And you should, as a science student, you should take the insight deep from the science, and you should provide a scientific invention or scientific innovations. And such innovations will last forever. And it is having a huge commercial value. So my conclusion for this one is, for example, we should get insight from our basic research and do the applied research and translate that into a technology product and move ahead with the commercialization. Once you reach the commercialization stage, go through the reverse step that the product has to be updated routinely. I say example. So once upon a time, the Nokia was one of the leader in mobile technology, right? So every time, for example, during our graduation studies, we were having this big Nokia phone, right? Now if you see, if now recent last 2 years, there are some Nokia phones are coming. Before that, there is no advancement happen. So once upon a time, they were the king of the jungle, and later they didn't process that pitch of innovation. They lose the market entirely. They are wiped out of the market, and so that will happen if you do not go the reverse development. So once you reach the market, for example, now if we say the example of television. So initially we start the journey with big monitors, then it come to LCD, then LED, then OLED, then now we are having the 4K, 8K sort of things. So it will grow. So as the research and innovations are going on, the product aspect is also changed. For example, if we think of the first generation of the vehicles available in India or Kerala, so we can see the transformation. So within a small space, a lot of R&D, research and innovations are going on. And so here the message is very clear. So we should always do a reverse innovation, in that we should update our product as per the requirements of the market. Otherwise, we are going to wipe out. There is no monopoly in the market. Anytime it can be changed. It is not only for biotechnology, it is for any sort of product. For example, if you in the health system, it is in product innovation, process innovation, and service innovation. We should update with the market. So as we are moving ahead into research, so try to get insight from this basic research and move ahead in the translation, and make a foundation, clear foundation. For example, if you are planning to go ahead in a particular domain, make a clear foundation and learn new techniques and all these procedures in whatever the literature is available from the basic, and put that basic research there. Then seek what is the real world problem with that particular core competency you can solve, and you will definitely end up with intellectuals and a new product development or a process development. So these are the very essential part of translative or advanced research. So during the research, there are certain things we have to be take care of. Okay, so after your BSc or MSc, many of you go for the PhDs and in the research into various organizations. So research lead to the discoveries or inventions or innovations. Okay, so these are having a very high potential and high market value. For example, this intellectual property we used to say as an intangible asset. For example, while I was mentioning that Blackrock technology startup, so they are having a couple of patents, right? So they are only 3-year-old. Now their valuation will come to almost 10 crore. That is, the students which even of your age is having a venture of 10 crores valuation, because the intellectual property will add on valuation into your company or into your ventures. And so you should very thoroughly knowing how to deal with your knowledge, know-how, and intellectuals. So wherever possible, you have to protect your IPs before you publishing. That is the first thumb rule. So in many of these PhDs, if you met a first year PhD students after registration, we will ask what is your ambition. They will tell that I should have a publication in a Nature or in a big impact fact journal. That is their ultimate aim. But during this process, they generated a couple of intellectual properties. They are losing that intellectual property due to this publication process. Okay. So first thing is you should search whether any of these intellectual properties is going to come in my way of research. If this, you have to secure a professional, you have to file a professional IP application first, then followed by the publications. Otherwise, you are going to use it. It is also applicable in the copyright productions and the trademark production. And during the innovations, there is a second level of knowledge generation. It is called a know-how. For example, like a Coca-Cola secret formulation. So you, during your research journey, you may also come across with a certain modified protocols. So such protocols will be very, very keen for your commercial aspect also. And the third thing is that know-how. If many of the times they can be protected, and if you cannot protect it, then you should keep as a trade secret along with you. So, and the third one is you should clearly understand this patent holder and innovator. For example, in many of the academic institutions, they file the patents and put researchers as the innovator. Normal thumb rule of academic institutions is that the patent will be filed in the name of academic institutions, and the inventor will be the persons who are doing that research, particular research. And for example, after your academic year, you are interested in commercialization of that particular things. So the IP is in the name of many of these academic institutions. It should be transferred into a startup. Okay, that is a different process. So MHRD and other higher education ministries come with various aspects of the every academic institution should have a IP law. If the inventor want to start a venture out of that, well, there is some rules they fought out in the year of 2009. Where any of these innovator want to start a venture, they should allow them to bring a venture in the academic institutions. Here, Manipal is having a good entrepreneurship policy for all the faculties who are working in the translated research and innovation. So we should clearly understand who is the inventor and who owns the patent. So the who owns the patent is ultimately going to get the value, and the inventor is just they can show the invention in their CV. And many of the times patents are linked each other. For example, say if you development of a vaccine for COVID, then it doesn't mean that you are having the full right of commercialization. So that you have to do additional stuff that I will explain a little bit in coming time. So during the process of patent and all this patent of protecting your technology, you should not disclose your entire concept to anybody. So if you disclose it in a public or into any group, it is considered as you are going to lose your intellectuals. So before disclosing anything, you should advise to sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding your intellectual concept or know-how or a patent idea. Okay, so NDAs or confidential disclosure agreements and all these things happen. So even though if you want to enter into a business domain of technology, then you are having an additional chance of licensing the technology from academic or other institutions. For example, if we go to the premium institutes of government as well as in private, there are having a called a IP shelf. Okay, so their IP showcase or IP shelf, they have a lot of IPs relying with them. So if you want to enter into such business, you can license that technology into US, or if you are academic persons or a researcher who is intent to develop only the technology, then you can develop that technology and transfer that technology into third party. That license is possible in both ways. You can buy a technology license and start the business. Like for example, in agri processing, many of these agri processing licenses coming from agriculture universities and other premium institute like CFTRI and all these things. Okay, so this license they are purchasing from this industry, academia, or research organization, and you can use the commercialization of that one. For example, in the textile industry, or in the polymer industry, or in the nuclear or medical industry, a lot of licensing happen. For example, the Philips or GE or big pharma companies, they can also license certain products into a sub business entity or a startups, and it may be exclusive or non-exclusive, and the rights of such invention may vary. And these are basic concepts. So why if you own a IP and it may not be it cannot be converted into products. So many times what happened is IP, you are getting maybe a part of the process. Okay, so it may be infringing into other parts of the. For example, if you develop a vaccine for the COVID, for example, in that there are 3-4 components and is already there. Patent 1, patent 2, patent 3 are shown in this presentation. So it is a combination of 6 patents, and you are holding only 2 patents. That is Y patent, 6 and 4. So in this case, you cannot go ahead in the commercialization. So here the solution is you have to get a license for limited application of patent 1, patent 2, patent 3, patent 4, and patent 6 for your commercial process. Otherwise, what will happen, like Samsung and Apple cases, they will infringe the one other's IP, and they violated IP, and infringement will happen. So IP is very valuable, and you should protect that one. And IP, you are owning IP doesn't mean that you are having the right of commercialization. So what we require to start with innovation? Okay, so first understanding is we should have identified the right problem. Okay, so problem is one of the primary things. If you identify a wrong problem and consider it as a problem, like in our routine cereals, okay, there are a lot of problems. If you see the cereals starting from evening in time, so there are a lot of problems. The problems, one above the another, a lot of problems will come. Okay, so identifying the right problem in the technology is very essential, and you should solve that problem with your technology idea. And for that, you should have availability of idea is very important. And to execution of that part, you should have a qualified researchers or a team to execute that one. Then during this problem or product development or solution development, you should have a clear strategy of research, technology development, and commercialization. Otherwise, if you are not focused, then it will end up as in the basic research, it will publications or nothing. So you should have a clear approach. And additional thing you require is clear access of innovation ecosystem. So innovation ecosystem means that, for example, a researcher is developing a particular high-end vaccine. For example, if we give a project to St. Mary's, so your college, to develop a vaccine, you know that you do not have a full competency for that one. Yes, we are having the knowledge, know-how, but in order to fulfill that particular task, we require a lot of connections. So in innovation ecosystem, we require that clear a network of people who can provide the right mentoring sort of things. So that access to clear innovation ecosystem is very essential. Then opportunity to test. For example, you develop the in the case of early 90s, nanotechnology products are in boom. A lot of nanotechnology projects are coming, but there is no regulatory things which provide the right to you to test in any of these either in patients or in animals. So opportunity to test your products idea is also a requirement, because many of the times it is highly controlled by the government systems. Then another important concept is mentor support. So mentors are the people who are supporting you without taking any of your IPs. So they may get some sort of financial benefit or like a consultation fees, but they do not have a right on any of your products development. So it is not like your PhD guides. The mentor are different. Mentor association is they will support you in deep technology, but they will not get any share of this one. So in a startup ecosystem, you will get a lot of mentors. There is no guides or there is no bosses. So these mentors will provide their insight, their corrections, and you can lead your innovation in your own name. And what they are getting is they are getting some sort of financial benefit or some other benefits against their services. And you should always have a good network of researchers. In innovation, network is network. Without network, if you go alone, you will sit at home at the end. You should have a good, clear network, and you should have a clear team. Then another additional requirement is the opportunity to set up a team. For example, nowadays, all these innovative startups, if you think of around 600, 700 startups supported by Government of India through BIRAC, if you go through them, it is having a team with a solid multidisciplinary core. Multidisciplinary people can lead to in different aspects. I will say one example. So, for example, if a biotechnology asks to develop a startup, they are having a limited knowledge of what is the marketing, what is the commercialization strategy, what is the business plan, how to make a revenue, what is how to control the cash flow. All these things, it is not available. So if you set up a team, you are a technical person with a biotechnology background, another person is with a business background, another person with a legal, regulatory and statutory knowledge. So that 3-person team will make a solid group which can lead that innovation into market. Otherwise, what will happen? You develop something, and while hearing, for example, so for creation of a private limited company, you have to have a 16 different applications or different forms. Then you may not understand many of the things. Then there they will stop. So you should, if you have a multidisciplinary, that is always in advance. So another thing is, if you are moving ahead as a business, you should have a finance or business expert in this one. So another thing is, there should be a team leader who can resolve all sort of conflict of interest during the startup stage. So many of our Indian startups die not because of something else. Mainly, they die due to conflict of interest. For example, he becomes the CEO, I become the CTO, and only one CEO, CTO can be created. So everybody cannot be CEOs of these startups. So you should understand what is my role. If you are a technical person, you should be a CTO. If you is a business or person, something CEO. The clear strategy should be made for the patents and all these things. So if you are a very early stage startup, if you can associate with the TBIs, technology business incubators or business incubator, they will provide you right support. And when a technology innovation fails, so many of the times the conflict of interest is the major killer. Then second is patent conflicts. Then during the product development or innovation, there are a lot of conflicts arise. Then funding, the money sharing. For example, the day one you have to be very clear what are the percentage of or equity among the stakeholders, and incentives against the IPs. For example, say if you are providing the contracts, you should be very clear on incentives. And during the research, if you change, for example, if nowadays for submitting the PhD, it is mandatory that you should have a couple of publications, and all these things will be lead to the creation, the failure of this innovation. For example, there is one saying that Thomas Alva Edison is having 1,000 patents, but everything may not be commercializable, right? So innovation, how we can develop into a innovation into business. So here, once you develop a technology, it doesn't matter. So the main thing the market or your customer requires is what is the product or service you are offering. For example, if you are a tissue culture specialist, okay, so your tissue culturing skills, they do not want. They want the good quality seedlings, either banana or teak or any sort of plants. If you are a pharma, they do not require your skill in protein docking. They require specific product or pharmaceuticals to treat a patient. So the product is important, not the technology. And second, during the technology innovation, you should have a clear business plan, and you should do that freedom to operate in order to access whether you are violating any sort of IPs. And you should always have a unique selling point. For example, if you have a technology without any unique selling point, then you are not going to survive in the market. and you should clearly understand who needs it and what is its value. The value proposition is very important. For example, if you develop a banana out of tissue culture, then you say that the market, there is a certain standards, and if you are developed a new variety which is having a special advantage, at that time your value, you should realize, and it should be above the market, not the below market. And you should know the market size. For example, bigger diseases like diabetes or cancer, or like this pandemic condition, the market is very big, it is global. So you should have, for example, if you are developing a particular product for a food industry, say a military application, the long store or without preservative, so there the market is limited. So you should understand where the market, and you should also understand who all are going to compete with you. So then another aspect is who make the purchase decision. For example, if you develop a product for a ICU patient, there the ICU patient is not going to take the decision. There the doctors are going to decisions, and whether my product is convenient for the doctors to make a purchase decision of that particular product. So who will make the purchase decision is very important, and who will pay it and how much, and whether they can pay in advance. All these things will affect a technology business aspect. So first thing you require is you have to believe in your own idea. If you provide a solution like painkillers, which is against on the burning problems of the society, then you are going to have a good business out of that one. And intellectual properties, we used to say like that, it is like make you money while you are sleeping, because intellectual property can be sold globally, and the product chain goes globally, and 24/7 you are going to get money. So if your business, if you have a business plan with the technology where the customer pays in advance, that is having always very big advantage, because we used to consider in business cash is always the king, because multiple times you rotate your money, then you are going to get a bigger advantage. Then you should also have a competitive sustainable advantage. So you should have a control on for example, raw materials. Raw materials is not like, for example, our surgical mask or N95 mask. We do not have the control on that raw materials, because it is coming from China. So if you have the control on raw materials, then your business is going to establish in a faster manner. And investors and the customers and all these relations and clarity is very essential. So this is a nutshell of how to create a technology startup. First one is technology idea. We have to validate with our deep science. We are developing a lab scale model, that is the proof of concept. And after this proof of concept, we are moving to registration of the company, because in India, to do a business, we should register as a firm. It's either a private limited company or a limited liability partnership. And if you are planning to do that establishment in a local system, then you can also go for the proprietorship. Okay, so once the startup is developed, then you have to collect various investments, you have to collect the capital, put and into development phase and in commercialization. So what is the role of incubator? So incubator is a place, as I mentioned earlier, it will provide the entire support. It provide, the creation of a venture is like a growth of a baby. So while during the birth, it is very, very, very immature, and the incubator, if you put in the right ecosystem or incubator, they will grow gradually into a mature person. So incubator will provide various supporting ecosystem, including services, including funding, viewing and visualizing your objectives. We will provide deep mentoring, and it will create the valuation of your company and de-risking your venture. So why incubator is necessary? Because in technology-based startups, we used to see that when initial days, they can collect a lot of money from various sources, and they will grow, establish. Once the money is over and the product is not there, then they are going to dip, and they are going to out of the market. And the incubator will help you to overcome the value of that, where the loss of huge money can be minimized with the various supporting system. And we will look how incubator will work. So in incubator, we will see first a validation from the problem, then the solution they are providing, what is the technology idea. For example, if you come with, I will create a water out of air, then we will move that surgery, do that surgery, and find the components of your problem, technology idea, and solution. So then we will compare whether this solution is already existing in market. If it is yes, then how you are going to be unique, or what is the intellectual or IP you are having. So that we will guide you, and that stage we will put you into the next stage called proof of concept. We have to validate it again as per the standards requirement. For example, if you are developing a surgical devices, okay, or a biomedical devices, so the concept can be developed at any. It should have certain criteria as per the rules and regulations of government. So during the proof of concept, we will develop a prototype. We will do the regulatory trials, approvals, then certifications, and then put into the trials and commercialization and product in use. So it will require a lot of money. Okay, so as we are coming from many of these Indian innovators are coming from the middle class economy. Nobody is the son and daughter of a big businessman. So a lot of money is going to involve in this one. So incubator ecosystem will provide research fund, then proof of concept funding, then scale up funding, marketing risk. Starting from 3.5 lakh to 20 crore amount is available with the various incubators. Various incubators is having that many capacity to support you in finance. So many of these amounts are grant. In addition to that, incubator is having certain set of infrastructure like research. If you want to do research, we are having a laboratories. We are having 10,000 square feet laboratory inside the incubator. So you can do almost all the testings. Then knowledge workers, you are having the technical persons. Then people understand your needs. The market related persons will be there. Then your knowledge enhancers will be there, mentors will be there, investors will be there, patent professionals will be there, then company secretary, then chartered account, legal advisors, then professional services, regulatory experts. All these people are there. In addition to that, there are certain third-party service providers also will linked with the bioincubator, which the entire things you require in your validation of your product is available with the technology business incubator. So that is why this incubator ecosystem is a complete ecosystem where you walk in with your idea and you can walk out with your technology if your idea is real. So first thing you require is you should believe in your own idea, and you have to do a basic due diligence. So how much money you require to start a venture or a technology startup? So in India, for example, doing a proof of concept at a very early stage, so you require 15 lakhs, and for prototyping and alpha first product development, it requires up to 50 lakhs, and early stage regulatory rights approvals and launching that product into market, especially in biotechnology, to require up to 2 crores, and commercial production up to 20 crores. And so we are having a lot of resources now. And previously, for example, if you say to start a venture in our age, during our graduation time, if you want to start a venture, there are only 2-3 options. One is angels. Angels may invest some amount, like say 5 lakhs or 10 lakhs in our own thing. Then some venture capital are there, or some private equity investors are there. So these people are only the big businessman who is having a lot of money will invest in during our age. Or the third option is 4Fs, that is friends, family, and fools you believe in idea. And the fourth one is a father-in-law if we marry to a very rich girl, sort of things. So these are the 4Fs available at the early stage during the business transitions. Now we are having a lot of funds from the government to match, starting from 3.5 lakhs to 20 crores. So we are having many startups who raise more than 2.18 crore grant. This is a grant, not a loan, inside our incubator. So this round we are having last round we are having the 3 BIGs, which is having individual grants of 50 lakhs. So this round, just yesterday, we received a confirmation of one more BIG recipient, which is of 50 lakhs. So there are a lot of grants. The major source of grant is for example, biotechnology. You should go and see the birac.nic.in. It's a BIRAC. It is a DBT independent organization. They are funding lot of money in biotechnology and health related sectors. And another big money is available from NSTDB, National Center for Science and Technology, Entrepreneurship Development Board. So they are having Nidhi EIR. Now in Manipal, we are receiving application for Nidhi EIR. If anybody want to apply with their, if they completed their graduation, Nidhi EIR having certain steps that they should be a graduate. Just a completed graduate is all right. And BIG and other grants, it is also open, and it does not require any educational sort of things. So Nidhi Prayas is also open at some of the centers. So you should apply NSTDB. You can also Google search NSTDB Nidhi EIR and Nidhi Prayas programs. So these are open. And the BIG, there are various other programs in BIRAC. There are various other funding opportunities available. So they will measure your innovations and provide funding. So this is almost end of the talk. So we go through the various steps. I think I cross a little bit more, take a little bit more time. I think it may be helpful. So we discussed about the TBI and how a student or researcher can start an innovation, and what all are the steps to do for innovation, identifying the right problem, then with your technology idea, then what is the difference between the frugal innovations and why it is not having no value, what is the importance of IP, then requirements of innovations, why innovation fails, then how to convert the business and all this. So we are having certain programs, as I mentioned, membership program is there. So if somebody want to learn more on innovation and entrepreneurship, they can become the members. Then programs like, as I mentioned, we are having a couple of programs. Any of you can, if interested, you can enroll. And the current openings, the Nidhi EIR open, Nidhi Prayas is open, BIRAC, BIG, BIPP, PACE, and all this having a tranche of 50 lakhs or above grant is available for you. So you should look into BIRAC.nic. So if somebody is interested in membership, so we are having a membership plan of 100 rupees per year, or for 8 years, you can scan that code, and you can QR code, and you can have, or you can log into any of the social media platform like LinkedIn, Manipal Government of Karnataka Bioincubator. You will get all these updates, what all are the programs we are doing. So that is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If somebody has got any doubts or clarifications, you can please mention it in the chat box. And sir, there are a couple of questions.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
okay, sir, Shreya Gupta, she has mentioned, sir, can you give some examples of biotechnological ventures for entrepreneurship? Also, can you name some funding or investing agencies for the same?
Yeah. So there are, if you go to BIRAC.nic, you can get more than 450 plus startup, especially in biotechnology domain. So the domains which they are support is medical biotechnology. There are a lot of products available, environmental biotechnology. So that PDF format is already there. You can just log into, just open the website BIRAC.nic.in, and there you are getting a full list of biotechnology based startups. We are having 400 plus startups are already there. So you can go through that, because I'm not mentioning, but here we are having, as I mentioned in that Nidhi EIR fellow, so that Rudra, who is working on skin patch, is a biotechnology. He is developing a skin product for the cosmetical and nutraceutical applications to test this sensitivity and all these things. Right. So regarding the granting, biotechnology, yes, BIRAC is the biggest granting agency, and in Kerala also, Kerala Startup Mission also will fund biotechnology. There are a couple of programs. I am not 100% sure what all the programs they are having. And inside Karnataka, we are having a CareTech Elevate program. So that is specifically for the startups who are registering inside the Karnataka domain. So like that, state government is also having multiple programs, as well as central government also having multiple programs.
Okay. Then Hamida, She has asked, Sir, which is the best college to do MSc Biotechnology inside?
Right. For biotechnology, you can choose. So which college doesn't matter. This is how you are proceeding with your education is very, very important. So so if you are interested, you are welcome to Manipal also. Any other questions? I will go through that one because a lot of chats are there. So, which college is best to do MSc and how we can career about BSc biotechnology? How we can make our career out of it. Okay, so Hamida, I think I answer your questions, and after biotechnology, you can think of rather than thinking of job. So if you get sufficient skills, then you can think of your own ventures, or you can go ahead with biotechnology based on if you require additional skills. And colleges, as I suggested, there are many good colleges are there, and you can choose. Manipal also, you're welcome. And any other questions is coming? Bioscience, biotechnology, then biotechnology students. Yeah, sir, can you give some examples of biotechnology ventures entrepreneurship? Can you name some of them? As I already mentioned, Shreya Gupta, like BIRAC is one of the good resources. You can get a number of products which is developed through the various grants available as of now. Solutions, okay. Right. Is there any job opportunity in India for BSc failed students? If you are failed, that doesn't matter. So if you have guts to identify some sort of the biggest problem, then you will get you can succeed. This is totally up to you. Whether a failure or success doesn't matter. You should have some good innovation, and you can move ahead. Then please provide the link to give the feedback. Okay, that is.
Sir, we don't have much questions, so I would like Dr. Sarita Francis to express our vote of thanks.
Right. Yeah. We will provide our details of this bioincubator. So our website is bioincubator.manipal.edu. So if you have any sort of requirement, then you just let us know, and we are happy to support. We will provide that email as well as website details in chat box, so you can write it up, and you can communicate if you require. So essentially, if your college do not have a startup cell, you should create one, and there are a lot of funding available for the establishment of incubator inside. So you can think of that. Further, you can proceed.
Sir, we have one more question, like what better skills we can acquire during a master's in microbial biotech to get job after master's?
Yeah. So there is you are, I think, knowing that skill enhancement program of Government of India, right? So nowadays the industry require certain skill set. Okay, so it including industry also come up with the certain standards. So you can refer the Skill India programs. There are 3 to 6 months training program provided for the microbiologists, which make you capable of doing the industrial related jobs. So in Manipal, we are having that BTFS, biotech finishing schools, where they are certified. They are providing the certified skill enhancement program in biotechnology and related sector. So if you are looking into industry, then you can have some of the programs which is under the Skill Vigyan Kendra or Skill India programs. So you can search Google Skill India or Skill Vigyan program. Then you can get a number of programs which will give you certification for industry, right?
Okay, sir, we have one more question. Like, what are the best MSc program after BSc Biotechnology?
So it totally depends on you. So if you are very good in bioinformatics, yes, bioinformatics is there. You can do after this one. Then bioprocessing is there. Then food technology is there. Then biomedical is there. Then pharmacogenomics is there. So a lot of programs which you can do ahead. So better, because my advice is go with the general biotechnology. So your job opportunities will be increased. If you go into too deep specifications, then the chances of getting job is a little bit less. Any other questions?
So let me have a check. So we have one more question. Like, what is the role of biotechnology to promote stem cell therapy in India, such that it can be utilized better?
Yeah. So India's first stem cell therapy products is coming from StemButics. It is inside Manipal campus. So we have this StemButics is one of the leading stem cell therapy products. So you can log into StemButics. They are deriving a number of new products out of this stem cell therapy. So it is very promising, and regulatory related things is coming up. It is because it is in the first line. As I say, once it happened with nanotechnology, now the regulatory things are only under pipeline. It is not established for stem cells. So coming year, it will be very clear. So you can think of various aspects. Then you can start your proof of concept. Once your things are get ready, then it has to be validated through regulatory things.
So I hope, yeah, one last question, sir. Is there any entrance to get admission to Manipal?
Yeah, for biotechnology, I think it is merit based. So this year, I think there is no, if you are into BE or MTech biotechnology, yes, there is a Manipal entrance test there. So it is a all India competition exam. So the date is over. Last July 15th was the last date for application, and now examination is ongoing. The 10th is the last date for exam. So this year you cannot, and in coming years you can apply. For example, it is totally merit based. So if you having a good scoring, say it is a all India competition, a lot of competitions are there. So around 90 or 95% you are having, so then you are getting a chance of entering into Manipal.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So now over to Dr. Sarada Francis.
I think Sarida, your mic is mute, so you have to unmute that one.
A warm good afternoon to all. On behalf of St. Mary's College, Thrissur, Kerala, I, Dr. Sarada Francis, taking this opportunity to purpose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this national webinar on research, innovation, and entrepreneurship in biotechnology sector, organized by the Department of Biotechnology. At the outset, I thank our chief guest and today's resource person, Dr. Manish Thomas. We are really enlightened with your valuable words. I would like to express our profound gratitude to our principal, Dr. Sister Maggie Jones, for her enthusiastic support. I take this time to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. Anu P.A., for her moral support, guidance, and hard work. A special thanks to all my colleagues for their unflinching support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to all audience for your active participation. With these warm words, we have moved to the end of today's webinar. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.